My name is Elena Novak Carter, and I've spent my entire adult life doing everything right. I came to this country when I was 8 years old, holding my mother's hand as we walked through the Chicago airport, carrying 2 suitcases and a dream. My parents left everything behind in the Czech Republic, so I could have opportunities they never had. I watched my father work 3 jobs. I watched my mother clean houses during the day and study English at night. So I earned everything. I worked 2 jobs through community college. I graduated debt-free from Portland State with a finance degree. I built a career as a financial analyst through sheer determination. I married a man from a good American family. I bought a house in a safe neighborhood. I had twin daughters and gave them everything I never had: stability, security, a future without fear. If this story hits home, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Every betrayal I share comes with a twist you won't see coming. And every single month for 16 years, I put money into their college fund. Sometimes $500. Sometimes only $50. But I never missed a month. Not once. I was going to make sure my daughters never felt like imposters. This morning, I logged into their 529 college savings account like I do every Sunday. Coffee, financial review, meal planning. My routine. The screen loaded. My hands started shaking. Balance, $0. $340,000. 16 years of sacrifice. Gone. I refreshed the page. Still 0. Transaction history showed withdrawal after withdrawal. The largest in the past 60 days. The most recent yesterday, while I was at my mother's house. I couldn't breathe. This had to be a mistake. I grabbed my phone and called my husband Derek. Straight to voicemail. I called again. Voicemail. Again. Voicemail. "Derek, call me back right now," I said, my voice cracking. "Something's wrong with the college fund. The money, it's all gone. Call me back." I hung up and stared at the laptop screen, willing the numbers to change. They didn't. That's when I heard footsteps on the stairs. Sophia and Isabella, my 16-year-old twins, were coming down for breakfast. They were supposed to start college application essays this week. Stanford for Sophia, MIT for Isabella. Both impossible now. Both dreams I'd just watched disappear. How was I going to tell them? "Morning, Mom," Sophia said, walking into the kitchen with her usual composed grace. She looks so much like me. Dark hair, green eyes, that serious expression that people mistake for coldness until they know her heart. She was already dressed in her mock trial team polo shirt. Sunday practice. Isabella followed behind her, purple-streaked hair still messy from sleep, wearing an oversized hoodie that said "Girls Who Code." She had her phone in one hand and was scrolling through something with the focused intensity she brings to everything tech-related. I must have looked terrible because both girls stopped and stared at me. "Mom, what's wrong?" Isabella asked, putting down her phone immediately. "You look like you're going to pass out." I opened my mouth, but no words came out. How do you say it? How do you destroy your children's dreams in one sentence? "The college fund," I finally whispered. It's gone. I expected them to cry. I expected them to panic. I expected them to ask a million questions about how this could possibly happen. Instead, something strange occurred. Sophia and Isabella looked at each other, not the confused, panicked look I expected. It was something else. Something that made my stomach twist with confusion. There was communication happening between them. The twin telepathy I'd witnessed their whole lives but never quite understood. Then Sophia sat down next to me, her voice calm and steady in a way that seemed impossible. "Mom, we know." "What?" I stared at her, completely lost. "What do you mean, you know?" Isabella pulled out her laptop, always within reach, and sat on my other side. "We've known for 3 weeks. We've been documenting everything." The kitchen tilted. You've known for 3 weeks? We didn't want to tell you until we had enough evidence, Sophia said, putting her hand over mine. We needed to be absolutely sure before we broke your heart. Evidence? I repeated stupidly. Evidence of what? Isabella turned her laptop screen toward me. It was filled with spreadsheets, screenshots, and folders labeled with dates. Evidence that Dad has been systematically stealing from the college fund for 18 months. Evidence of where the money went. Evidence of why. My vision blurred with tears. Your father wouldn't— Mom, Sophia interrupted gently. Yes, he would, and he did, but we caught him. I wept at my daughters, my 16-year-old daughters, and saw something in their eyes that sent chills down my spine. It wasn't sadness or fear. It was determination. It was strength. It was the kind of fierce protectiveness I thought only mothers possessed. Tell me everything, I whispered. Isabella's fingers flew across her keyboard. 3 weeks ago, you asked me to check why the internet was slow. I ran a network analysis. It's this thing I learned in Cyber Club, and I found unusual outbound traffic from Dad's laptop. A lot of traffic to cryptocurrency exchanges. I noticed a $15,000 withdrawal from savings around the same time, Sophia added. Dad said it was because his commission check was delayed and he needed to bridge the gap. But something felt off. The story was too smooth, like he'd practiced it. So we started investigating, Isabella continued. I set up network monitoring, completely legal since it's our home network and I have your permission as the account holder. She gave me a pointed look. I nodded numbly. I tracked every website Dad visited, every account he accessed, every transaction he made. Sophia pulled out a 3-ring binder. Of course, she had a physical binder, and opened it to reveal a timeline written in her meticulous handwriting. And I started documenting his behavior. His schedule, his lies, his patterns. Every time he said he was working late. Every time he said he had a business trip. Every time he changed his passwords or acted suspicious. Girls, you've been— I struggled to find words. You've been running an investigation? On your own father? We had to protect you, Mom, Sophia said, her voice cracking for the first time. We couldn't let him destroy everything you built. Isabella clicked through folders on her screen. We found the cryptocurrency accounts. He invested, and I used that word loosely, about $180,000 in various crypto schemes. He lost almost all of it. My hand flew to my mouth. $180,000, but that's not all, Sophia said quietly. Show her the rest, Bella. Isabella took a deep breath and opened another folder. Mom, Dad's having an affair. Her name is Vanessa Blake. She works at his company in marketing. They've been together for about 8 months. The room spun. I gripped the edge of the kitchen table. The remaining money, about $160,000, was transferred to a joint account Dad opened with Vanessa. Sophia continued, her lawyer voice steady even as her eyes filled with tears. He's been planning to leave. To leave all of us. I couldn't process it. My husband, my Derek, the man who held my hand when I became a citizen. The man who cried when our daughters were born. The man who promised my immigrant parents he would always take care of their daughter. How do you know all this? I whispered. I recovered deleted emails, Isabella said. I found his second phone in his car when I borrowed it last week, the one he uses to text Vanessa. I cloned it. You cloned his phone? It's easier than you'd think, Isabella said with a small shrug. And before you ask, yes, we contacted a lawyer. We called the legal aid hotline at Portland State, the one for teens in crisis, and they connected us with attorney Rachel Goldstein. She told us exactly what we needed to do to make sure everything we found would hold up in court. In court? My voice came out as a squeak. Sophia met my eyes with a steadiness that broke my heart and filled it with pride at the same time. Mom, Dad committed theft. He stole from a protected educational fund. He used your credentials to access some of the accounts, which is identity theft. And based on the email evidence, he's been using company resources for personal business, which is corporate fraud. We're not going to just let him get away with this, Isabella added, her jaw set in that stubborn way that reminded me so much of myself at her age. We're going to make sure he pays back every penny, and we're going to make sure he never gets the chance to do this to anyone else. I stared at my daughters, these brilliant, fierce, strategic young women, and realized they weren't children anymore. They were warriors. What happens now? I asked. Both girls looked at each other and smiled. It wasn't a happy smile. It was the smile of people who had a plan and were ready to execute it. Now, Sophia said, we show Dad that the Carter women don't go down without a fight. And we make sure everyone knows exactly what kind of man he really is, Isabella finished. For the first time since I saw that zero balance, I felt something other than despair. I felt fury. And beneath that fury, I felt hope, because my daughters had just shown me that we weren't victims. We were survivors. And we were about to become something else entirely. We were about to become his worst nightmare. Have you ever discovered that everything you believed about your life was a lie? Have you ever had to choose between protecting someone you love and demanding justice? Tell me in the comments, because what happened next changed everything. I need you to understand something about my marriage before I tell you how it fell apart. It wasn't always broken. I met Derek 17 years ago at a Portland fundraiser. I was 25, newly promoted. He was 32, a construction manager with easy confidence. 6 months later, he proposed on the Hawthorne Bridge. 2 months after that, we married at Powell's Books. My parents cried happy tears. Derek seemed to love everything about me, my ambition, my discipline, my work ethic. When I got pregnant with twins, he was ecstatic. He painted the nursery, read parenting books, came to every appointment. When Sophia and Isabella were born early, Derek slept in a hospital chair for 4 days. We're going to give them everything, he whispered, and for a long time, we did. Derek coached soccer, he helped with science fairs. He was patient when Sophia went through selective mutism. He was supportive when Isabella was diagnosed with ADHD. The college fund was my project. I started it the day they were born. Derek contributed too, especially early on when construction was booming. But 3 years ago, everything shifted. Derek was promoted to regional sales director at a tech startup. Big salary. Big pressure. He started traveling constantly. Seattle, San Francisco, Denver, Austin. Always stressed, always on his phone. I'm doing this for us, he'd say, for the girls' future. Money arguments started. I'd ask about a $1,500 restaurant charge. It was a client dinner. You wouldn't understand. My therapist asked why I checked accounts so often. It's about control, Elena. You need to learn to trust. So I tried. I checked less. I gave Derek space. I didn't ask questions when he worked late. Last year, Derek started sleeping on the couch. His back hurt. I snored. He had early calls. I suggested counseling. Not everyone needs therapy for every little thing, Elena. 6 months ago, Derek changed all his passwords. Security reasons, he said. Isabella noticed immediately, and when Isabella thinks something is weird, she investigates. She started monitoring our home network, a cybersecurity club project. Just curiosity at first. But she found hours of activity on cryptocurrency exchanges, dating websites, private emails, all from Derek's laptop during work hours. Isabella told Sophia. And Sophia suggested gathering evidence first. Mock trial had taught her that accusations need proof. For 3 weeks, my daughters ran a covert operation. Isabella monitored systems, recovered files, cloned Derek's second phone, tracked crypto accounts, created forensic trails. Sophia documented behavior, arrivals, departures, excuses, patterns. She recorded calls, photographed statements, created timelines. They found everything. Cryptocurrency losses. Derek took $180,000 and lost almost all of it. The affair. Vanessa Blake, 28, marketing director at his company. 8 months. He told her he was separated, showed forged divorce papers. The theft. Systematic withdrawals, small at first, then massive in recent months. The plan. Quit his job, divorce me, move to Florida with Vanessa. He'd put a deposit on a Tampa condo. He was leaving us with nothing. My daughters discovered all of this, and they made a choice that probably should have been mine to make, but I'm grateful they made it. They decided to fight back. They contacted attorney Rachel Goldstein through the legal aid hotline at Portland State University. Rachel specializes in family law and financial fraud. She's also the mother of a teenage daughter, which meant she took my daughters seriously when they explained the situation. Rachel's advice was clear. Document everything. Don't confront him until we have an airtight case. Don't touch any evidence in a way that could compromise it legally. And tell your mother immediately. Which brings us back to that Sunday morning. The morning I saw the zero balance. The morning my world fell apart. The morning my daughters told me everything. After they finished explaining, I sat in stunned silence for what felt like hours but was probably only minutes. My daughters waited patiently, giving me time to process. Finally, I asked the only question that mattered. Where is he now? His phone location shows he's at Vanessa's apartment, Isabella said, checking her laptop. He left the house at 9:30 last night, said he was going to the gym, and then would probably crash at his friend Rick's place because they were planning to watch the game late. Rick doesn't exist, Sophia added quietly. We called the number Dad has listed for Rick in his phone. It's a burner. He calls himself when he needs an alibi. The depth of the deception was staggering. Derek had built an entire architecture of lies. Fake friends, fake work trips, fake phone numbers, fake documents. He'd constructed a second life while living in our home, eating meals I cooked, sleeping under a roof I helped pay for. What do we do now? I asked my daughters, feeling lost. Sophia pulled out her binder. She'd prepared for this conversation, I realized, and opened it to a page titled Action Plan. First, we call attorney Rachel and schedule an emergency meeting for this afternoon, Sophia said. She's expecting our call. Second, we freeze all joint accounts to prevent any additional withdrawals, Isabella added. I already drafted the request emails. You just need to approve and send them. Third, we document this conversation and your discovery of the missing funds, Sophia continued. Everything from this point forward needs to be on record. Fourth, we prepare for Dad to come home and confront him together, Isabella said. We don't let him gaslight you. We don't let him divide us. We present a united front. I looked at my daughters, my 16-year-old daughters who should have been worried about college applications and prom dresses and normal teenage things, and I started to cry. Not from sadness, from pride. You are the strongest people I've ever met, I whispered. Thank you for protecting me. We're the Carter women, Sophia said, taking my hand. We protect each other. Isabella pulled up the contact information for attorney Rachel Goldstein. Ready to fight back, Mom? I thought about my parents, who'd left everything behind to give me a chance. I thought about the years I'd spent building a life of stability and security. I thought about the college fund that represented 16 years of sacrifice. And I thought about the man who'd stolen all of it, who was right now probably lying in another woman's bed, probably laughing about how easy it was to fool his boring, predictable wife. Yes, I said, my voice steady for the first time since I'd seen that zero balance. I'm ready to fight back. What we didn't know yet was that Derek had already made a critical mistake. His boss, Trevor Huang, had just discovered company credit card irregularities. His mistress, Vanessa, was about to learn she wasn't the only one being deceived, and the life he'd so carefully constructed was about to collapse in the most spectacular way possible. Because while Derek had been busy planning his escape, we'd been busy building his prison. The reckoning was coming, and it was going to be beautiful. Derek came home at 4:30 Sunday afternoon. I was at the kitchen table with our daughters and attorney Rachel Goldstein on speaker, creating legal strategy. We'd filed emergency paperwork for Monday, asset freeze, separation, restraining order. "Hey family," Derek called cheerfully. "Sorry I missed breakfast. Rick and I got carried away with the game." He walked in carrying pastries. "I brought croissants from that French place you like. Peace offering." I stared at him. This man lying so smoothly while our savings sat in another woman's account. "Sit down, Derek," I said quietly. Something in my voice made him stop. His eyes flicked to the girls, to the laptop, to the papers spread across the table. "What's going on? Is everything okay?" "No," I said. "Everything is not okay. Sit down." He sat, setting the pastry box on the table with exaggerated care. "Elena, you're scaring me." "What happened?" "I checked the college fund this morning," I said, watching his face carefully. "It's empty." Derek's expression went through a series of micro-changes: surprise, confusion, concern, all perfectly performed. "What? That's impossible." "There must be a mistake." "No mistake," Isabella said, her voice flat. "You transferred $340,000 out of the account over the past 18 months. The last withdrawal was yesterday, Saturday. $35,000. Derek turned to look at our daughter, and I saw a flash of something ugly cross his face before he smoothed it back into confusion. "Bella, honey, I don't know what you think you saw, but we have screenshots of every transaction," Sophia interrupted. "We have bank records. We have the routing numbers for the account where you transferred the money." "We know everything, Dad." Derek looked back at me, his face reddening. "You set the girls on me? You had our daughters spy on their own father?" "We set ourselves on you," Isabella shot back. "Mom didn't know anything until this morning." "We've been investigating you for 3 weeks," Sophia added calmly, "once we noticed the irregularities." Derek stood up abruptly, his chair scraping against the floor. "Irregularities? I'm your father! You don't investigate your father." "Fathers don't steal from their daughters," I said, standing to face him. "Sit down, Derek. We're not finished." "I don't have to listen to this," he said, but his voice was shaking now. "This is insane. You're all acting insane." "The cryptocurrency accounts," I said. "Tell me about those." He froze. "What cryptocurrency accounts?" "The ones where you lost $180,000 of our family's money," Isabella said. "The ones you accessed from your laptop at 2 a.m. when you thought everyone was asleep. The ones that show you made increasingly desperate investments trying to recover your losses." Derek's face went pale. "You hacked my computer?" "No," Isabella said with a cold smile. "You used our home network. I monitored our home network." "Completely legal. Ask our lawyer." "Your lawyer?" Derek's voice rose. "You got a lawyer?" "Against me? Attorney Rachel Goldstein," Sophia said, gesturing to the phone on the table where Rachel was listening silently. "She specializes in family financial fraud. Would you like to say hello?" Derek stared at the phone like it was a snake. Then he tried a different tactic. He sat back down, put his head in his hands, and when he looked up, his eyes were wet. "Okay," he said, his voice breaking. "Okay, you're right. I made mistakes. Huge mistakes. The crypto investments. I thought I could make money for us, for the family. I thought I could double the college fund, maybe more. But it went wrong. The market crashed and I lost it all and I panicked. He looked at me with those eyes I'd fallen in love with 17 years ago. I was trying to fix it before you found out. I was trying to protect you from worrying. It was a good performance. If I hadn't known about Vanessa, I might have even believed him. What about the joint account? I asked quietly. The one you opened with Vanessa Blake. The color drained from Derek's face completely. What? The joint account with your girlfriend, Sophia clarified. The marketing director at your company, the one you've been having an affair with for 8 months. Derek's mouth opened and closed. He looked genuinely shocked. Probably not that we knew, but that we'd said it out loud. I don't. He stopped, started again. You don't understand. Vanessa and I, we have a connection, something real. You and I, Elena, we've been living like roommates for years. You're always working, always focused on money and savings and the future. You never just enjoy the present. The words hit me like a physical blow. So you decided to steal from our children because I'm too focused on their future. I wasn't stealing, he said, his voice taking on a defensive edge. It's our money. I have as much right to it as you do. It's not our money, I said, my voice deadly calm. It's a 529 educational savings account designated for Sophia and Isabella's college expenses. It has legal protections. And you didn't just take from that account. You forged my signature on withdrawal forms. That's identity theft, Derek. You can't prove that, he said quickly, too quickly. Isabella turned her laptop around and showed him a screen full of documents. Actually, we can. See, when you scan documents, they leave metadata, digital fingerprints. The withdrawal forms that have Mom's signature, they were all scanned from your work computer. We have the timestamps. We have the IP address. We even have security footage from your office building, showing you at the scanner on the dates the documents were created. Derek stared at the screen, his face cycling through emotions. Fear, anger, panic. How did you get security footage from my office? We asked, Sophia said simply. After attorney Rachel filed a legal discovery request. Your company was very cooperative once they understood the situation. In fact, I said, watching Derek's world crumble, your boss Trevor Huang has been very helpful. He's very interested in the $63,000 in company credit card charges that you can't seem to produce receipts for. Derek's hands started shaking. This is a setup. You're trying to destroy me. No, Dad, Sophia said, her voice cracking with emotion for the first time. You destroyed yourself. We're just making sure everyone sees what you did. Vanessa doesn't even love you, Isabella added, and I heard the hurt beneath her anger. She has another boyfriend. Richard Blackwood. Ring any bells? Derek's face went white. That's impossible. Vanessa and I are planning a life together. She loves me. She loves your money, Sophia said flatly. She was planning to take it and move to California with Richard. We have the text messages where she laughs about how easy you are to manipulate. I watched my husband, this man I'd built a life with, who I'd trusted with everything, process the fact that he'd been played just as badly as he'd played me. There was something almost satisfying about it. I want to see those messages, Derek said desperately. You're making this up. Isabella pulled up screenshots on her laptop. Derek leaned forward to read them. I watched his face crumple as he saw Vanessa's words. The old guy is totally hooked. He actually believes I'm going to marry him after his divorce. Men are so easy when they're having a midlife crisis. You set me up, Derek whispered, but he wasn't talking to us anymore. He was talking to himself. She set me up. No, I said, my voice hard. You set yourself up the moment you decided our daughter's futures were worth less than your ego. Derek looked up at me with something like desperation. Elena, please. We can fix this. We can go to counseling. I'll get the money back somehow. Just don't do this. Do what? Destroy me, he said. Destroy our family. You destroyed our family, I said quietly. I'm just protecting what's left of it. Derek stood up abruptly, knocking his chair over. I need to talk to Vanessa. Vanessa blocked your number 3 hours ago, Isabella said, after her boyfriend Richard confronted her about the affair, which he found out about because someone sent him screenshots of you and Vanessa together. Funny how that happens. Derek whirled on her. You did that? You ruined my relationship? Your relationship was already ruined, Sophia said. It was never real to begin with. She was using you, just like you used us, Isabella added. Derek looked at all of us, his wife, his daughters, the evidence scattered across the table, and something in him broke. This is unbelievable. I can't believe my own family is turning against me like this. We're not turning against you, I said. We're holding you accountable. There's a difference. You're destroying me, he shouted. I could go to prison. Is that what you want? You want the girls to have a father in prison? We want a father who doesn't steal from us, Sophia said, her voice breaking. We want a father who keeps his promises. We want a father who doesn't lie every single day. Everything I did was for this family, Derek said, his voice rising to a shout. Everything. I worked my ass off to provide for you. With our college money? Isabella shot back. You provided for us with our own money that Mom saved? Your mother is obsessed with money, Derek yelled, pointing at me. She's always been obsessed with it. Checking accounts, making budgets, counting every penny like we're still poor immigrants. The room went silent, cold. What did you just say? I asked quietly. Derek seemed to realize he'd crossed a line, but he couldn't stop himself. You know it's true, Elena. You never got over being that scared little immigrant girl. You're always waiting for everything to fall apart. It's exhausting living with someone who can't just relax and enjoy life. Get out, I said. What? Get out of this house right now. This is my house too, he said. You can't kick me out. Actually, Attorney Rachel's voice came through the speakerphone, calm and professional. She can. The house is solely in Elena's name. You signed a quitclaim deed 5 years ago during the refinance. Derek's face went through another series of changes as he processed this new information. You have 2 choices, I said, my voice steady despite the rage burning through me. You can leave now, voluntarily, or I can call the police and have you removed. Either way, tomorrow morning I'm filing for legal separation, freezing all assets, and pressing charges for theft and fraud. You wouldn't, Derek said, but he didn't sound sure anymore. Try me, I replied. We stared at each other for a long moment. 17 years of marriage, 2 daughters, a life we'd built together, now demolished. Finally, Derek grabbed his keys from the counter. Fine, I'll leave. But this isn't over, Elena. I'll fight you on everything. I'll make sure you regret this. I already regret this, I said. I regret trusting you. I regret not seeing who you really were. I regret wasting 17 years on someone who values money more than his own children. I valued my children, Derek said, his voice breaking. I love my daughters. No, Sophia said quietly. You loved the idea of us, but you didn't love us enough to not steal our futures. Derek looked at his daughters, really looked at them, and I saw the moment he realized he'd lost them forever. Not because of anything I did, because of what he did. He walked to the door, then turned back. When you realize what you've done, when you realize you destroyed this family over money, don't come crying to me. We won't, Isabella said simply. We have each other. We don't need you. The door slammed behind him. We sat in silence for a long moment. Then Sophia started crying. Isabella followed. And then I was crying too, holding my daughters while they grieved the father they'd thought they had. "We did the right thing," Sophia whispered. "Right?" "Yes," I said firmly. "We did exactly the right thing." Attorney Rachel's voice came through the speaker, gentle now. "You all did incredibly well. I know that was hard. But you stood your ground. You didn't let him gaslight you, and you protected each other. That takes real strength." "What happens now?" I asked. "Now," Rachel said, "we go to war. Legal war. And based on what I've seen today, we're going to win." What we didn't know yet was that Derek's world was about to get much, much worse. Trevor Huang was preparing termination papers. Vanessa was cooperating with investigators to protect herself. And every lie Derek had told was about to unravel in ways he never imagined. The breaking point had passed. Now came the reckoning. Monday morning arrived cold and clear. I'd barely slept. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Derek's face, heard his accusations, felt the weight of 17 years dissolving. But I got up at 6 a.m. anyway, made coffee, reviewed the documents Attorney Rachel had sent over at midnight, and by 8 a.m. I was sitting in her downtown office with Sophia and Isabella, ready to file the paperwork that would officially begin the end of my marriage. Rachel Goldstein looked exactly like she sounded on the phone, sharp, efficient, and somehow maternal at the same time. She was probably in her late 40s, with graying dark hair pulled back in a neat bun, and the kind of direct eye contact that made you feel heard. "Before we file," Rachel said, spreading documents across her conference table, "I need to show you something that came in this morning." She pulled up an email on her laptop. "This is from Detective Sarah Chen in the Portland Police Department's Financial Crimes Unit. She's been assigned to your case." "Case?" I repeated. "I thought we were filing civil separation." "We are," Rachel confirmed. "But Detective Chen opened a criminal investigation based on the preliminary evidence I sent over yesterday. Educational fund theft with identity fraud components crosses into criminal territory." My stomach twisted. "Criminal charges? Against Derek?" "Against your husband," Rachel corrected gently. "I know this is hard, Elena, but the state of Oregon takes educational fund theft very seriously. It's not just your money. It's money that was legally designated for your children's future. The protections are different." Sophia leaned forward. "What does that mean? Could Dad actually go to prison?" Rachel nodded. "If convicted, yes. Oregon law allows for up to 5 years for Class C felony theft, which applies when the amount exceeds $10,000. Your father took $340,000. Isabella was pulling up information on her phone. What about the identity theft? He forged Mom's signature. That's an additional charge, Rachel confirmed. And then there's the corporate fraud angle. I heard from Derek's employer this morning. Trevor Huang wants to cooperate fully with the investigation. As if on cue, Rachel's phone buzzed. She glanced at it and smiled slightly. Speaking of which, that's Detective Chen. She wants to come by the office this afternoon to interview all of you. Are you comfortable with that? I looked at my daughters. They looked at each other with that twin telepathy, then nodded at me. Yes, I said. We'll talk to her. The next 3 hours were a blur of signatures, notarizations, and legal terminology. Emergency asset freeze, granted. Restraining order requiring Derek to stay away from our home, granted. Legal separation filing, submitted. By noon, Derek's access to every joint account was frozen. By 1 p.m., he'd been served with papers at his office. By 2 p.m., Detective Sarah Chen was sitting in Rachel's conference room with us. Detective Chen was younger than I expected, maybe late 30s, with kind eyes and the patient demeanor of someone who'd heard every story. She set up a recording device with our permission and started with the basics. Tell me how you discovered the missing funds. I walked her through Sunday morning, the zero balance, the panic, the girl's revelation, Then Sophia and Isabella presented their evidence, and I watched Detective Chen's expression shift from professional interest to genuine amazement. "You documented all of this yourselves?" she asked Isabella, scrolling through the digital forensics folder. "This is better than what we get from some private investigators." "I learned from YouTube videos and online forums," Isabella admitted. "There's a whole community of ethical hackers who teach digital forensics." "And you," Detective Chen said, turning to Sophia, "created this timeline and cross-referenced every transaction with physical evidence?" Sophia nodded. "I'm on the mock trial team. I know how to build a case."
Detective Chen leaned back in her chair, shaking her head slightly.
"In my 15 years doing this job, I've never seen anything like this. Most families don't discover financial fraud until it's too late to build a strong case. You two built an airtight case before your mother even knew there was a problem." "We had to protect her," Sophia said simply. "And ourselves." "Well, you did more than protect yourselves," Detective Chen said. "You built a prosecution's dream case, but I need to make sure everything was obtained legally. Walk me through your methods." For the next hour, Isabella explained network monitoring. Legal. It was our home network and she had parental permission. Recovered deleted files. Legal. It was a shared family computer. Transaction tracking. Legal. All information came from accounts Elena had legal access to. And the cloned phone. "The phone is trickier," Detective Chen admitted. "How did you access it?" "I borrowed Dad's car to drive to a friend's house," Isabella explained. "He left his second phone in the console. I used a commercially available backup app to create a copy, the same app anyone can buy to back up their phone. I returned the phone to exactly where I found it within 20 minutes. "Did you unlock the phone or bypass any security?" Detective Chen asked. "No," Isabella said. "The phone was already unlocked. He keeps it that way when he's driving in case Vanessa calls." Detective Chen made notes. "Legally gray, but probably admissible since you didn't break any security measures and the phone was in a shared family vehicle. The defense will challenge it, but I've seen judges allow similar evidence." "What about the work computer evidence?" Rachel asked. "The metadata showing he scanned documents from his office?" "That came from a legal discovery request I filed," Rachel explained. "The company cooperated voluntarily." "Even better," Detective Chen said. She closed her notebook and looked at all of us. "Here's where we are. We have clear evidence of theft from a protected educational fund. We have evidence of identity fraud through forged signatures. We potentially have corporate fraud if the company wants to press charges for misuse of company resources. And we have evidence of conspiracy if it turns out the girlfriend knew the money was stolen." "Vanessa didn't know," I said quickly. "At least, I don't think she did." "Let me talk to her," Detective Chen said. "Often in these cases, the secondary partner knows more than they admit. And if she's willing to testify against Derek to protect herself, that strengthens our case considerably." "There's something else," Isabella said hesitantly. "I found evidence of cryptocurrency trading. Dad lost about $180,000. Detective Chen's eyebrows rose. "That's potentially money laundering depending on the sources and methods. Can you show me?" Isabella pulled up the cryptocurrency wallet information. Detective Chen's expression darkened as she reviewed it. "This is more complex than I thought," she admitted. "Some of these transactions look like they might connect to offshore accounts. I'm going to need to bring in a federal agent who specializes in cryptocurrency fraud." "Federal?" I asked, my voice faint. "Don't panic," Detective Chen said. "This is good for you. Federal charges carry serious weight. It means Derek can't just charm his way out of this in local court." My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "Elena, this is Trevor Huang, Derek's boss. Can we talk? I have information you need to know." I showed the text to Detective Chen. She nodded. "Call him." "Put it on speaker." I dialed. Trevor Huang answered on the first ring. "Elena, thank you for calling back. he said, his voice tight with stress. "I need to tell you what we found in Derek's company files." "I'm here with my attorney and a detective investigating Derek's financial crimes," I said. "You're on speaker. Is that okay?" Brief pause. "Actually, that's perfect." I was going to call the police next. "We completed an internal audit this morning after your lawyer's discovery request. Derek has been systematically defrauding the company for at least a year." Detective Chen leaned forward. "Mr. Huang, this is Detective Sarah Chen, Portland PD. Can you elaborate?" "Fake expense reports totaling about $63,000, Trevor said. "Client meetings that never happened. Conference registrations he never attended. Hotel rooms he charged to the company card during supposed business trips, but the hotels have no record of any business events on those dates." "Where was he actually going?" I asked, though I already knew. "Based on the hotel locations and dates, probably to meet his girlfriend," Trevor said. "I'm so sorry, Elena. If I'd been paying closer attention—" "This isn't your fault," I said firmly. "Derek is very good at lying." "There's more," Trevor continued. "Derek was using company computers and company time to manage his cryptocurrency investments. We have server logs showing hundreds of hours of trading activity during work hours, and he was using company email to communicate with his girlfriend, which violates our ethics policy." "Are you willing to press charges?" Detective Chen asked. "Absolutely," Trevor said. "Our board met this morning. We're terminating Derek for cause and pursuing full legal action. We're also banning him from the industry. His reputation is finished." After we ended the call, Detective Chen looked at me with something like sympathy. "Your husband made a lot of mistakes, and they're all catching up with him at once." "Good," I said, surprising myself with the vehemence in my voice. "Here's what happens next," Detective Chen said. "I'm going to interview Vanessa Blake. I'm going to bring in federal agents for the cryptocurrency angle. I'm going to coordinate with Trevor Huang's company on the corporate fraud. And I'm going to build a case that will either result in Derek pleading guilty or going to trial and losing. Badly." "How long does this take?" Sophia asked. "Months, probably," Detective Chen admitted. "The legal system moves slowly. But in the meantime, the civil proceedings move faster. Your mom can get the restraining order extended, get court-ordered restitution for the stolen funds, and begin divorce proceedings." "What about college?" Isabella asked quietly. "The fund is still empty. We have applications due in 6 weeks." Rachel and Detective Chen exchanged a look. Then Rachel said gently, "Oregon law allows for immediate court-ordered restitution in cases of educational fund theft. I'm filing an emergency motion tomorrow. If the judge grants it, and based on your evidence I'm confident they will, Derek will be ordered to return every penny within 30 days or face immediate jail time." "But he doesn't have it anymore," I said. "He lost it in cryptocurrency and gave it to Vanessa." "Then he'll have to find it," Rachel said firmly. "He can take loans. He can sell assets. He can liquidate his retirement accounts. That's his problem, not yours." For the first time since Sunday morning, I felt something like hope. That evening, Derek called me. I didn't answer. He called again, and again. Finally, he left a voicemail. "Elena, please, we need to talk. I lost my job today. Trevor fired me. The police called me in for questioning. I think Vanessa is cooperating with them against me. My lawyer says I'm looking at serious charges. Please, I know I made mistakes, but we can fix this. Call me back." I played the voicemail for the girls. Isabella looked satisfied. Sophia looked sad. "Do you feel bad for him?" I asked Sophia gently. "A little," she admitted. "He's still our dad, even though he did terrible things." "It's okay to have complicated feelings," I said. "Love and accountability aren't mutually exclusive. You can love who he was and still hold him responsible for who he became." "I don't love who he was," Isabella said flatly. "I love who I thought he was." That person never existed. We sat with that truth for a moment. Then my phone rang again. This time it was Detective Chen. "I just finished interviewing Vanessa Blake," she said. "You need to hear this." "What did she say?" "She's cooperating fully, and Elena, she didn't know Derek was married." I closed my eyes. He told her he was divorced. "He showed her forged papers," Detective Chen confirmed. "She thought she was dating a divorced single father. When she found out the truth today, after I showed her the real marriage certificate and your family photos, she broke down." She's horrified. "So she's a victim too," I said quietly. "In some ways, yes," Detective Chen agreed. "But here's the interesting part. Vanessa has been documenting Derek's promises to her. Text messages where he talks about the money he's moving. Emails where he describes his investment strategies. She unknowingly collected evidence of his fraud while thinking she was planning a future with him. Will she testify? Absolutely. She's furious. Derek didn't just lie to you, he lied to her. He put her job at risk. He potentially implicated her in fraud. She wants him to face consequences. After I hung up, I looked at my daughters. It's really happening. He's going to face charges, real charges. Good, they said in unison. Wednesday morning, we went to court for the emergency restitution hearing. Derek was there with his lawyer, looking haggard and broken. We didn't speak. The judge reviewed the evidence, Sophia's timeline, Isabella's digital forensics, Detective Chen's preliminary report, the bank records, Trevor Huang's affidavit. Then the judge looked at Derek with undisguised disgust. "Mr. Carter, I've seen a lot of financial fraud cases in my career, but stealing from your own children's educational fund while conducting an affair and defrauding your employer? That's a special kind of betrayal." Derek's lawyer tried to argue that the fund was marital property and Derek had a right to access it. The judge shut him down. Educational funds have special legal protections precisely because children's futures shouldn't be subject to parental whims or marital disputes. Mr. Carter violated those protections. He forged his wife's signature. He transferred funds to personal accounts. This isn't a divorce dispute. This is theft. The judge's ruling was swift and brutal. Full restitution of $340,000 within 30 days or face immediate incarceration. All of Derek's assets frozen until restitution is complete. Child support payments established. Restraining order extended indefinitely. Derek left the courthouse in handcuffs after he violated the restraining order by trying to approach me in the parking lot. The judge held him in contempt and remanded him to custody overnight. That evening, news of the case hit local media. "Tech exec arrested for stealing daughter's college fund," read the headline. Derek's mugshot was everywhere. By morning, it was trending on social media. Portland's tight-knit tech community was sharing the story, warning others about Derek Carter. His professional reputation, the one thing he'd valued above everything, was destroyed. And we were just getting started. The power had shifted. And Derek was about to learn that the Carter women don't just fight back. We win. The trial happened 6 months later. Derek's attorney tried negotiating a plea, but Detective Chen's investigation uncovered more. The crypto losses connected to an illegal pyramid scheme. Derek had recruited co-workers, promising returns. Federal charges were added: wire fraud, securities fraud, conspiracy. I sat in court with my daughters, watching prosecution detail every crime. Vanessa testified, composed and angry. "He showed me forged divorce papers. He promised me a future while stealing from his children. I will never forgive myself for believing him." Trevor Huang testified about corporate fraud. Sophia walked the jury through her timeline with precision. Isabella explained digital forensics in clear terms. Then I testified about being an 8-year-old immigrant, about building security, about the zero balance that shattered everything. He didn't just steal money. He stole my daughter's sense of safety, their ability to trust, 17 years of my life. The jury deliberated for 4 hours. Guilty on all counts. Derek was sentenced to 18 months in federal prison, followed by 3 years of supervised release. Full restitution was ordered, $340,000 to the educational fund, $63,000 to his former employer, $25,000 in court fees and penalties. But the real justice wasn't the prison sentence. It was what happened after. Derek had to liquidate his retirement accounts, sell his car, and take out loans to pay restitution. Every penny he'd stolen had to be returned, plus interest. The college fund was restored within 45 days of sentencing. The divorce was finalized while Derek was in prison. I got the house, full custody of the girls, and zero obligation to maintain any relationship with him. Derek's professional reputation was permanently destroyed. Background checks would forever show his fraud convictions. His LinkedIn was deleted after being flooded with warnings from former colleagues. He became a cautionary tale in Portland's tech scene. But here's what I didn't expect. Redemption. Derek served 12 months with good behavior. When he was released, he contacted me, through proper legal channels respecting the no-contact order, with a request to see the girls. Sophia and Isabella, now 18 and preparing for college, had the choice. They chose to see him. Once, in Attorney Rachel's office with me present, Derek looked older, smaller, humbled. "I don't expect forgiveness," he said to his daughters. "I don't deserve it. I just wanted to tell you that everything you did, exposing me, holding me accountable, you saved my life. I was spiraling. I was becoming someone I didn't recognize, and you stopped me." "We didn't do it to save you," Isabella said bluntly. "We did it to save ourselves." "I know," Derek said, "but you saved me anyway. I've been in therapy. Court ordered it first, but I kept going. I'm learning about narcissism, about compulsive behavior, about the lies I told myself. I'm learning to be honest. It's the hardest thing I've ever done." "Good," Sophia said. "You should keep doing it." "I will," Derek promised. "And I want you to know I'm proud of you, both of you. You're stronger and smarter than I ever was. You're going to do amazing things." It wasn't reconciliation, but it was something. A recognition, an acknowledgement, a tiny step toward healing. 1 year later, I stood in Sophia's Stanford dorm helping arrange books. Full scholarship, pre-law, specializing in family law. 2 weeks earlier, Isabella moved into MIT, full scholarship for cybersecurity, plus a paid research position. My daughters transformed trauma into purpose. I did the same. 6 months after trial, I founded Immigrant Family Financial Literacy, teaching financial safety and recognizing abuse. Free workshops in multiple languages. Our first had 12 attendees. Our most recent had 200. We've expanded to 3 cities, helped 15 families discover fraud, taught 2,000 people about security. Isabella created Safe Family, an app monitoring accounts for unusual activity. 50,000 downloads, 4.8 stars. Sophia's essay, When the Justice System Works, won a national contest published in the Washington Post. Dozens of families discovered similar fraud after reading it. We started a TikTok series, The Twins Who Took Down Their Dad, where Isabella and Sophia share their story and offer advice to other young people dealing with family financial crises. It went viral. 2 million views and counting. We've been contacted by producers who want to make our story into a documentary. We're considering it. If it helps even one family recognize financial abuse, it's worth the exposure. But the best part, the part that makes everything worth it, is this. Last month, I went on a date. His name is Martin. He teaches Czech literature at Portland State, and he makes me laugh. He knows my whole story. He's met my daughters. He thinks what we did was remarkable.
You didn't just survive, he said over coffee. You transformed. That's rare.
I'm not ready for anything serious. Maybe I won't be for a long time. But I'm open to the possibility. That alone feels like freedom. Sophia calls me every Sunday from Stanford. She tells me about her classes, her friends, her plans to join the Stanford Law Review. She sounds happy. She sounds free. Isabella video chats while coding, showing me her latest projects, talking a mile a minute about encryption algorithms and security protocols I barely understand. She's thriving. Neither of them talks to Derek regularly. He sends letters, apologetic, reflective letters about his therapy and his journey toward accountability. The girls read them. Sometimes they respond, sometimes they don't. It's enough that he's trying, Sophia told me once. We don't owe him more than that. She's right. We don't owe him anything. We owe ourselves everything. Last week, I received a message through our nonprofit website. A woman named Jennifer wrote, "I read your daughter's story. I checked my accounts. My husband has been stealing from our children's college fund for 2 years. Because of your story, I caught it early. Because of your story, I knew what to do. Because of your story, my kids will still go to college. Thank you." I cried when I read it. Happy tears, purposeful tears. Derek tried to destroy us. Instead, he forged us into something stronger than we ever would have been without the betrayal. The college fund he drained is now worth more than before. Restitution penalties, careful investing, and continued contributions. Sophia and Isabella will graduate debt-free. They'll start their careers with freedom I never had. The marriage he destroyed freed me to discover who I am without defining myself through someone else's expectations. The lies he told taught my daughters to value truth above comfort. The theft he committed showed us that justice is possible when you're willing to fight for it. So here's what I want you to know, if you're reading this and seeing yourself in any part of my story. If you've ever felt that sick twist in your stomach when checking your bank account, trust that instinct. If you've ever been told you're overreacting about money or too controlling about finances, that's often the language of someone who's hiding something. If your children have ever asked you questions that made you wonder, listen to them. They often see what we're too close to notice. Your family's financial security is not paranoia. It's protection. Document everything. Find a trusted attorney. Teach your children about money, about honesty, about standing up for themselves even when it's hard. And to the daughters out there watching a parent destroy everything, you are not powerless. You are not disloyal for demanding accountability. Love and consequences can coexist. Loyalty to family does not mean accepting betrayal. The best revenge isn't destruction. It's transformation. It's taking the worst thing that ever happened to you and building something meaningful from the wreckage. Derek took our money. We took back our lives. And honestly, we got the better deal. What would you have done in our situation? Have you ever had to choose between protecting someone you love and demanding justice? Tell me in the comments. And if this story helped you, share it with someone who might need to hear it. Sometimes the greatest gift we can give each other is permission to demand better. The Carter women learned that we don't just survive betrayal, we rise from it, stronger, wiser, and more determined than ever to protect others from the same pain. Subscribe for more stories of justice, survival, and the power of refusing to stay silent.